busting. Many brothers I be sparking and rusting, man, like inside the dark, call me Bill Snatcher. Just a brother for the rapture. I hang live, holding on strong, hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a convict and start killing. It's manifested. The gods work like appliances, dealing in my sacred life.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another discussion for Boruto Naruto Next Generations, the manga. And for anime only fans, this is a time of the month where a lot of the content that we talk about here on the channel is going to be spoiler heavy, so I thank you for your support. However, if you're still here, I'm assuming you guys are all caught up with the Boruto manga and you do not care about me talking about spoilers. So with that being said, let's jump right into the actual topic today. And before we get into the topic, if you've not hit the like button, hit the like button, because hitting the like button costs you absolutely nothing, and it's an easy way to make Himawari smile. You don't want Himawari to cry, so hit the like button, that way Himawari smiles. And Himawari definitely is going to need somebody to make her smile, because we're talking about Kawaki betraying Naruto, and it's something that you have to look at this point, because the bond that Kawaki's had with the Uzumaki household and that family is something that's gotten to the point to where now we're looking at this whole situation of Kawaki leaving the village, and everybody's pulling their hair out saying, why in the world would Kawaki leave? Why doesn't he trust the Uzumaki family? Why is he taking all this stuff onto himself? And it's one of those things to where you kind of look at how the story is actually progressing, and we keep going right back to the flash forward sequence, which is something everybody has been waiting for. The actual time skip. How do we get to this moment? Why did Kawaki potentially destroy the village? Why did Kawaki potentially turn on Naruto? Where did he send Naruto? How did these things happen? How did the rift between Boruto and Kawaki take place? And I'll forever die on this hill and say that the Boruto manga should have just taken the actual approach that instead of doing a flash forward sequence, they should just use the literary trope of in medias res, where you start at the midway point, so that Boruto versus Kawaki fight would be your midway point of the overall story. You just tell the story going forward from there, and then all the events after the fact are just used as ways to explain how we got to this point right here, to where the readers are catching up to how we got to this point as the story moves forward. A good example of how this happened is how Star Wars started with episode 4, and it went episode 4 through 6, and then you got the prequels after the fact. You have actual literature stories that have actually taken this approach, so it has worked in the past, and I think that this is something to where the fan interest is still on that time skip. Most people don't give a damn about Boruto Part 1. If we're just keeping it real, the manga sales kind of reflect that. So I want to say right now, Kawaki leaving the actual village is something that really interests me, because we've seen this kid go from having ramen bowls with Naruto to sitting down and having dinner with the Uzumaki household and family and fixing the vase for Himawari. Himawari in chapter, I believe it was chapter 60, telling Kawaki that the vase that he prepared for was one of those things that it was her most prized possession. And now in chapter 61, Kawaki's left the village and he didn't tell anybody what was going on. And what I find fascinating about this is the fact that Naruto stuck his neck out there for Kawaki. When all the other Kages were looking, saying like, yo, I don't know if this is a good idea, but since you're so adamant about it, let's just trust you. Gaara and Darui kind of looked at him and was like, yo, we know Jinchuriki. In the case of Gaara, Gaara's like, I used to be a Jinchuriki. If you feel this strongly about it, we'll trust in your judgment. However, a moment like this is going to prove Shikamaru right, where Shikamaru says we can't actually trust this kid Kawaki. He's left the village without telling us anything that's going on, despite knowing that there are people out there who can actually defeat Naruto. Now, I will say this. I think him leaving the village kind of comes back down to the fact that Kawaki is doing all this to protect Naruto. In the back of his mind, he's thinking, like you saw in the actual Boruto anime, when he has the dream where he sees Konoha destroyed and he sees the dead bodies of everybody. It's one of those things where Kawaki's looking at it and he's like, the longer I stay here, Konoha's gonna be in trouble. So if I get out of here and if I run away, if they capture me, so what? At least these people won't actually be harmed. And it's one of those things to where Kawaki's making the same mistake that Sasuke made, where he wants to try and take everything on by himself. But you can't actually do that. You need your allies. That's one of the things that Boruto tried to teach Kawaki, in particular when it comes to actual ninjutsu training. He's trying to tell him, like, look, you know, the way of doing things as a shinobi, a lot of this requires teamwork. You got to work with us. You got to trust in us. Don't try and do this by yourself. Boruto numerous times tells him, hey, you're my brother. Hey, brother, let's do this. Hey, brother, I got your back. You see how they have the coordinated efforts, like when they took on Boro, and you see how Kawaki lent his strength to Boruto. Kawaki understands the whole purpose of strength, but he's in a situation now to where he knows that his protector, Naruto, cannot actually defeat Code more than likely in an actual battle, and so that fear of something happening to Naruto is ultimately what's driving him away. But it's so ironic in the fact that by leaving the village, he's kind of taken that Itachi mind state, which kind of fits into this whole thing of just as Sasuke made the mistake of trying to take everything by himself, Itachi made that same mistake of trying to take on that darkness without relying on others, without trusting in others. Kawaki's repeating the same mistake of people from the actual past. And what's going to be so interesting about this is the fact that when Naruto finds out that Kawaki left the village, he's going to look at it and it's going to crush him. It's going to piss him off, but it's not going to be more so in the sense of like, this kid stabbed me in the back. That's not how Naruto's going to look at it. Naruto's going to look at it like, I did all this for this kid and he's still being reckless. I called him my son. I brought him in. I let him sleep in my office with me. We formed this bond, but he doesn't trust in me enough to actually tell me his concerns. I think that's the most heartbreaking thing right there, because Naruto more than anybody understands what it's like to be alone, and Naruto more than anybody knows what it feels like to actually be hunted. And I really feel like that's the moment right there to where when you look at it, when you look at the hero's journey, like I've talked about in like my Path of the Tyrant series on this channel, the only thing that separates the hero from the story and the tyrant of the story is the fact that the tyrant at some point was on the hero's journey, and instead of making the correct choice, the tyrant somewhere along the line made the wrong decision. And that one wrong decision forever altered the course of everything that happens in the story. I think we're in a similar situation right now with the character of Kawaki. Kawaki was that character that was straddling the fence. However, Kawaki right now has potentially made that mistake of not actually trusting in his master and his sensei. A lot similar to how Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars Episode 3, instead of confiding in Yoda, confiding in Obi-Wan about the actual visions of Padme's death and about the fact that Padme is pregnant with the child, in this case twins, it led to Anakin making a lot of mistakes that sent him down the path to where he ultimately became Darth Vader. I think we're in that similar situation here, and I think that just as you had Sidious, who was waiting to actually pounce on Anakin when Anakin made the mistake, I think that you either have Amato, or you have Code, or you have Ada. Somebody's waiting on Kawaki to slip up, and now that he's left the village, I think that one of those three characters, more than likely Amato in my opinion, one of those three characters is getting ready to manipulate the situation for the actual being. I think that it is very possible you're in a situation where Kawaki needs to fight Code, lose to Code, and then he goes back to Amato to get that karma seal. That could be where this is going narratively. However, I'm going to be very curious to see how this is kind of patched up. So I want to know from you guys, how do you guys feel about Kawaki's betrayal of leaving Naruto? And do you think that we're at the point right now to where Kawaki is potentially walking down the path of the tyrant? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.